Betty Ting opened her medicine cabinet and immediately saw what she was looking for. The yellow box was hard to miss. She took out a single tablet which contained aspirin and a tranquilizer called meprobamate. Ting was a rising movie star. She had started her acting career in Taiwan in the early 1960s, and by 1967 had moved up to make movies in the stronger Hong Kong film industry. In fact, she was currently working on what was perhaps her biggest project yet. She would be playing the wife of Bruce Lee. Yes, that Bruce Lee, the legendary martial artist and actor who had taken the world by storm in the 1960s and early 70s. She would be starring in Game of Death, which Lee had started before putting the movie on hold to make Enter the Dragon for Warner Brothers. Enter the Dragon had been a huge success, earning over $400 million, so Game of Death promised to be a mega hit as well. Lee was currently at her Hong Kong apartment. They had been going over lines from the script when he complained of a headache. Betty gave him the tablet of Aquagesic, and after taking the pill, Bruce had laid down for a nap. Later that evening, Betty was trying to wake him up for a dinner meeting with Raymond Chow, the powerful producer who had discovered Bruce and would later also produce films starring Jackie Chan. But Bruce would not wake up. Chow arrived at Ting's apartment with Bruce still unconscious. When they could not revive him, they called a doctor who attempted CPR for 10 minutes before finally calling for an ambulance that brought Lee to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Upon arrival, Lee was pronounced dead. It was July 20th, 1973. Bruce Lee, international movie star and only 32 years old, was gone. Lee's death was shocking. The combination of his status as a film icon and dying at such a young age fueled many rumors about the cause of his death. They included the possibility that Bruce had been murdered by the Triads, a powerful Chinese organized crime syndicate, or maybe his use of cannabis and other drugs had played a role. Or possibly he had died due to heat stroke caused by intense training. Some have even suggested that Lee's family was cursed and point to the unfortunate events surrounding the death of Lee's son Brandon during the filming of the 1994 version of The Crow as further evidence that there was indeed a curse. The official cause of Bruce Lee's death was cerebral edema, or swelling of the brain, allegedly caused by a bad reaction to the NSAID chemicals and tranquilizers present in the Aquagesic. But recently a team of researchers have floated the idea that it's possible something else led to Lee's death, something that you do every day, drinking water. A paper published in 2022 proposed that Lee died because of a condition called hyponatremia, which can be caused by drinking too much water. Hi everyone, I'm Noel Pauller, creator of the Lab Hamster Storylines for AP Biology, where we dive deep into fascinating, perplexing, and mysterious phenomena to make biology leap off the pages of textbooks and truly come to life. Today we will be talking about the legendary actor Bruce Lee and how osmosis and hyponatremia may have been involved in his untimely death. So, what exactly is hyponatremia, and why could it have killed someone as fit as Bruce Lee? Well, buckle up, because this story will make you think twice about the saying that you can never have too much of a good thing. Before we discuss hyponatremia in more detail, let's rewind for a moment. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco in 1940, then grew up in Hong Kong. He later moved to Seattle to continue his schooling and eventually opened several schools teaching martial arts. After moving to Los Angeles, he taught the likes of Chuck Norris and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He got his start in show business playing the role of Kato in the Green Hornet TV series. After the show's run ended, Lee continued to find work acting in supporting roles in both television and film. But becoming frustrated that he was not getting bigger roles, Lee returned to Hong Kong and signed a deal to star in 2 films produced by Golden Harvest. His first film, The Big Boss, was released in 1971 and was a huge financial success, making over $50 million. 1972's Fist of Fury was an even bigger hit. Bruce Lee had become a star. His next film, The Way of the Dragon, went on to earn an estimated $130 million. Bruce was working on Game of Death between August and October of 1972, before filming was suspended when Bruce accepted Warner Brothers' offer to star in Enter the Dragon. which went on to earn a staggering $400 million, the equivalent to over $2 billion today. The film sparked the 1970s martial arts craze, which gave us several TV shows and a disco song about everybody doing some kung fu fighting. Despite all these successes, there were some troubling signs that Lee's life was possibly in danger. After his death, Lee's wife, Linda, shared that he had transitioned to a mostly fluid-based diet of carrot and apple juice. She mentioned that he had experienced dizzy spells and headaches after drinking water. Bruce was also reported to have used cannabis, cocaine, and other drugs. Those who knew him best shared that he had been drinking alcohol more frequently, and Lee had been warned by doctors that his diet was dangerously low in sodium. Bruce suffered an episode of cerebral edema on May 10, 1973, while working on a dubbing session for Enter the Dragon. He was rushed to Hong Kong Baptist Hospital, where doctors were able to reduce the brain swelling by administering mannitol. Lee recovered and was examined on May 25th in the U.S. by Dr. Harold L. Karpman, who found Lee's blood urea nitrogen levels, or BUN for short, to be within the normal range of 6 to 20 milligrams per deciliter. Lee's BUN levels had been measured in Hong Kong during his hospitalization at a whopping 92 milligrams per deciliter. Levels that high can be an indicator of possible kidney dysfunction. We've all been taught from a young age that drinking water is good for us, so how can something that life depends on, and is so good for you, have been responsible for killing Bruce Lee? Drinking too much water can actually dilute your blood, making levels of sodium and other critical electrolytes drop. This can cause your body's muscles and nervous system to stop working normally. When the levels of sodium in your blood drop below 135 milliequivalents per liter, water begins flooding into your cells. This causes the cells in your brain to take on water, leading to a buildup of pressure inside your skull. The pressure increase can cause nausea, headaches, and seizures. And if it's not treated quickly, extreme cases can lead to death. Bruce had been experiencing many of the symptoms of low blood sodium, which led some researchers to believe he had been suffering from low-grade hyponatremia and reached a fatal tipping point on the day of his death. The official autopsy found that Bruce Lee died due to cerebral edema caused by an adverse reaction to the combination of drugs found in Equagesic. But Bruce is reported to have used Equagesic before the events leading to his death, with no negative side effects. In the December issue of Clinical Kidney Journal, a team of researchers concluded that it was quite likely that Bruce Lee died as a result of a specific type of kidney dysfunction, which leads to an inability to excrete enough water to maintain homeostasis. Lee's medical history shows that he had multiple factors predisposing him to hyponatremia, including chronic high fluid intake, use of marijuana which can increase thirst, use of NSAID medications, drinking alcohol that can impair kidney function, chronic low solute intake, along with frequent and intense exercise regimens. So how likely is it that Bruce Lee died because of hyponatremia? It's difficult to say for sure, but the first-person accounts of Bruce's behavior leading up to his death seem to agree with the hypothesis that he died because of hyponatremia. His earlier episode of cerebral edema suggests that he was at greater risk, and the elevated BUN levels are suggestive of the type of kidney dysfunction that can lead to dangerously low blood sodium. The autopsy weight of his brain was 1,575 grams. That's significantly higher than the normal 1,400. This result suggests that Lee's brain had taken on significant mass due to osmosis moving water into the cells of his brain, causing them to swell. Lee's symptoms very closely mirror those of Jennifer Strange, a mother of 3 who died in 2007 after participating in a competition hosted by a radio station which challenged listeners to hold their Wii for a Wii video game system. Strange drank between 6 and 7 liters of water in just over 3 hours. She finished second in the competition and won a pair of concert tickets. After going home, she called in sick to work and died from severe hyponatremia only a few hours after the competition had ended. We may never know with absolute certainty what killed Bruce Lee. Medical science in 1973 was not as advanced as it is today. Water intoxication and hyponatremia were not very well understood at the time, so it's very likely the medical examiners missed important clues when they conducted Lee's autopsy. It's certainly an intriguing possibility that something so critical for life may have played a role in taking Lee's life. Even though Bruce Lee died over 50 years ago, his legend lives on through his films and his martial arts prowess. His philosophy continues to inspire millions. Ironically, one of his most famous quotes during his life promoted the idea of being like water.
Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water in a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more stories like this one, please consider supporting our work on Patreon. There is a link in the video description below and on our channel page. I hope you'll join me again in the future for more fascinating stories of the amazing phenomena of biology. Until next time, stay curious.